What makes the Mona Lisa so valuable? It was sometime in 1503, during the Renaissance, when Leonardo da Vinci pulled out another empty canvas and painted an image of a particular woman. It seemed like another day at the studio for old Leo. Little did he know, the painting would turn out to be the most famous and valuable art piece in history. But how did we get here? Let's talk about it. Let's start with the subject. Over the years, there have been a lot of debates and speculation regarding the identity of the Mona Lisa. But today, most experts agree that the woman in the portrait is Lisa Gherardini del Giocondo, the wife of a Florentine merchant named Francesco di Bartolomeo del Giocondo. At its face, the Mona Lisa seems like a simple half-body portrait with a distant landscape, but it was revolutionary and ahead of its time. The three-quarter view, in which the subject turns to the viewer, is different from the standard pose used in Italian paintings at that time. Leonardo also used sfumato to perfection, a technique wherein the artist uses delicate shading and shadows to soften the subject's edges, making it appear more realistic. In 1804, the Mona Lisa ended up in the Louvre Museum in Paris, France, now the biggest museum in the whole world. Tourists flocked the Mona Lisa daily as they stared at the captivating painting. In the 1800s, the Mona Lisa's stock grew even higher as scholars gushed over the artwork. In 1869, Walter Pater claimed that Mona Lisa is the embodiment of timeless, feminine beauty. At that time, the Mona Lisa was already one of France's most iconic art pieces. But in 1911, its fame became worldwide. On the morning of August 21, 1911, Vincenzo Peruggia came out of a closet inside the Louvre Museum after spending the whole night hiding inside it. He had access to the museum as he was a contractor there. Peruggia quickly made his way to the Mona Lisa painting and carefully snatched it from the wall. He then went to a service stairwell and removed the painting out of the frame. He then wrapped it in a smock, something the museum employees would wear when they handled the artworks. After securing the painting, Peruggia immediately ran downstairs to the exit. He was prepared for the theft. He created a duplicate key for the door, but when he tried to use it, it wouldn't open. Peruggia was now trapped. At this point, he was starting to sweat, and he got even more nervous when he heard footsteps approaching his current location. A plumber was headed towards Peruggia, and when he saw him, the two locked eyes. It was tense at first, but something unexpected happened. The unsuspecting plumber thought Peruggia was a museum staff and opened the door for him. Peruggia immediately bolted out of the museum and went straight to the train station. Now to the question, why did Peruggia steal the Mona Lisa in the first place? Well, Vincenzo Peruggia was an Italian immigrant and an aspiring artist. He worked at the museum when he was hired to make protective cases for some of its paintings, including the Mona Lisa. During his stint at the Louvre, he noticed that there was a lot of Italian masterpieces inside it. This was because, during his prime, Napoleon Bonaparte looted a lot of artworks from Italy and brought them to France. To be fair, the Mona Lisa wasn't one of them. When Leonardo died, King Francis I of France acquired the painting, as Leo spent his last years in the king's service. Thus, it became an important piece in the French royal art collection. It was even hung in Bonaparte's bedroom at one point. During the French Revolution, insurgents seized the royal collection as the people's property, and that's when the painting found its way to the Louvre. But Peruggia didn't care. He wanted to take some of the Italian paintings back to his home country as an act of patriotism. There were a lot to choose from, but eventually, Peruggia ended up with the Mona Lisa. When the news broke, the stolen painting immediately became an international sensation. People visited the Louvre to see the empty space in which the Mona Lisa was once hung. The investigators interrogated Pablo Picasso as he was associated with a previous theft in the same museum, but they eventually let him go. 2 years later, an art dealer in Florence, Italy, alerted the local authorities when Peruggia tried to sell him the stolen painting. As it turned out, Peruggia hid the painting in a false bottom suitcase and smuggled it all the way to Italy. He thought he would be celebrated for returning the painting to its original place. He was wrong. He was immediately arrested by the authorities and sent to prison. The Mona Lisa made headlines again. This time, it was a victory lap after it was recovered. This event raised the Mona Lisa's fame and value. Today, The painting is still displayed in the Louvre Museum, but with a few modifications. In 2005, the museum installed a custom-made, climate-controlled booth with bulletproof glass that protects the Mona Lisa and keeps it in pristine condition. They also installed a custom-made 20-watt LED lamp that minimizes the amount of ultraviolet and infrared radiation to maintain the beauty of the painting. With all that, the question that needs to be asked is, how much is the Mona Lisa actually worth? In November 2017, the Salvator Mundi was sold at an auction for a whopping $450 million to a bidder who reportedly represented Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, making it the most expensive painting ever sold in history. The Salvator Mundi is a painting of Jesus emerging from darkness, blessing the world in one hand and holding a globe in another. Its painter? Well, surprise, surprise, it's none other than Leonardo da Vinci himself. As expensive as the Salvator Mundi is, the Mona Lisa almost doubles its price. In 1962, the Mona Lisa was insured for $100 million. If you adjust this amount for inflation, the painting is insured for over $862 million today. However, it might even be worth more considering the revenue it brings to the French government. Some experts estimate that over 2 million people visit the Louvre Museum annually to see the Mona Lisa. In fact, some have suggested that the government sell the painting and use the profit to pay the country's debts. Whether the government considers it or not, one thing is for sure. The Mona Lisa is the most valuable painting in the world and will continue to be so for the foreseeable future. What other facts do you know about the Mona Lisa? Do you agree with its valuation? Should the government sell the most expensive painting in the world?